Hello, and welcome to the Real-Esteem podcast. Today is April the 4th, 2018. I'm your host, Patrick Tabor, and today on the Marriage Edition, we're going to talk about assumptions. If you'd like to listen to any of our previous podcasts or get more information about our book, please visit us at enith.com, EYNIITH.com. The power of assumption can make or break a relationship, especially in a marriage. You can't spend too much time assuming that you know exactly what the other person is thinking. So you have to learn how to communicate well with one another. You have to know each other's hot buttons, or the thing that really gets them excited or frustrated about you assuming, and you kind of need to know how to approach them so that you can come to some kind of conclusion, or at least an understanding, so that you have a way to get to a conclusion. In arguments in marriages, usually come about with misunderstanding, and we misunderstand the emotion or the verbal cues that were given, or the body language. We tend to focus so much on the exterior things that are happening to try to tell us what that person's actually thinking or feeling, when we should spend more time focusing on asking what is going on, or asking how you're feeling, or finding out what the true intention or emotion is. That way you're communicating, and you're not taking the quick or easy route to which is assuming. So Proverbs 18:2 says, "A fool takes no pleasure in understanding, but only in expressing his opinion." So, perfect example here. We can get into an argument with one another in our marriage, and not take time out to realize that we may be adding different thoughts to our words, to our discussion, that the other person may not even be thinking, feeling, or trying to relay to us. And we're just assuming that is the way. And as the scriptures says here, a fool takes no pleasure in understanding. We're not really trying to understand. We're trying to get our words out. We're trying to tell them what we think. We're trying to tell them our opinion. So, in that moment, you can be caught up in only expressing your own opinion, trying to make sure you get your point across, trying not to forget that thought you had that was going to win the argument or win the situation. So really, you've got to learn how to take pleasure in understanding, as opposed to trying to win the argument or to be correct in this particular argument. It's very necessary, if you're going to have a good relationship, that you spend more time understanding than you do just expressing your opinions. Matthew 7:22 says, "On that day many will say to me, 'Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name, and cast out demons in your name, and do many mighty works in your name?'" If you know the rest of the scripture, it says, "Depart from me, you workers of iniquity. I did not know you," or "I never knew you." So the point is, Jesus is saying, yes, you did all these things, but you never spent time trying to understand or talk to me. You never had a direct one-on-one relationship with me. When I told you to do something, you were too busy doing what you thought, or expressing your own opinion, that you didn't have a conversation with me about what I really wanted you to do. And that's what's going to happen at the end of times. People are going to be thinking that they're going directly to heaven, and they're not, because they did not have a direct relationship with him. They just did a lot of church or religious things, thinking that was what it took to get in. 2 Corinthians 10:5 says, "We destroy arguments and every lofty opinion raised against the knowledge of God, and take every thought captive to obey Christ." So, when you're having a discussion with your spouse, your focus needs to be on understanding, as we said before, and not assuming. Just like in Matthew, where they assumed that they assumed that they were doing everything right. But it would be good to just check with the person who was in charge of that, which was Jesus, to see, am I right? Am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing? Do we have a relationship? Do we get to talk one-on-one? Do you have that? Same with your spouse. It's better to ask the question, well, how do you feel about this? Or what's going on? Or why is that bothering you? Or I really don't understand why you feel that way. Trying to get an understanding is a difficult thing to do because it takes away from you getting to the point where you're wanting to express your opinion. But in the long run, you build a better relationship. Lastly, 1 Corinthians 13:7 says, love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. With your spouse, your focus is understanding, is loving them, is caring about them, caring about their thoughts and emotions and feelings and why they feel that way, not casting them out as if they're worrying again or they're over exaggerating or they are spending too much time on that particular project. Sometimes we kind of push down the process. We don't want to go through the process of really building a good communicating relationship, and we kind of kill it in its infancy when we could build it up and grow it into something great so that we have in the future, so that we don't have to spend too much time disagreeing about things because we know the other person's mannerisms so well that when we have a conversation, we can ask the right questions, we can say the right things, and it never really turns into anything major. Whereas, a lot of newlyweds and young couples spend a lot of time arguing about petty things because they don't know how to get past only expressing their opinion. So I hope you got something out of this today. Be blessed, grace and peace.